I'm Red Beard the Hippy here with Parthian in Wichita, Kansas, who let me sit through their practice session, which I've now fully understand why this area talks very, very highly about you guys, and being able to watch the seeing certain videos live and everything, and seeing how you guys transition it onto from practice to the live set. So I appreciate letting me come sit through this because I missed the one time I got or had the opportunity to see you guys.
It's all good, man. We're glad you came.
And let's see. Since people don't know, these guys are metal, thrashy, aggressive, angry, and they have a Pokemon song cover. So, how did you guys choose the Pokemon theme song?
That's a great question. I don't even know. I don't remember what made us want to do that. I guess maybe the shirt.
I think it was the shirt design, and Pokemon is just everybody's childhood here.
Yeah. I mean, obviously we all grew up with Pokemon anime being like the thing, and all the cards and the games, everything. But we got a T-shirt design done that was like Smokeamon, so it was like Pokemon, but very like 420 themed. And we took that to Denver for Denver Death Fest, and we were like, well, we need something to promote this, so we're like, why don't we just cover the old theme, even though it's completely outside of like our style. So.
Which I think is the best part of why it turned out so good is because when I saw that you guys posted, it's like, okay, I want to go see this. I want to see how they did this or what they did with it. It's completely vocal style, completely opposite of what you guys do. And it's like, okay, that's fucking cool. And then I showed it to my kids who love Pokemon and they thought it was cool. So
yes,
the fact that I was like, ooh, I got cool points because I showed him a cool Pokemon song.
that really was the plan because like our typical demographic I feel like is like 30 to 45-year-old sweaty dudes. So we're like, how do we get this like bar dropped a little lower? It's like, we'll just appeal to the kids.
You gotta get them Snapchatting and TikToking.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
None of us know how to do half that shit anyways.
It's true.
And yet we still all have the social media accounts for all of that because we have to promote.
I know how to doom scroll. That's all I know how to do. It's just doom scroll. Like
scrolling.
Next.
Yep.
Next. Okay, like that one. Next. Oh, don't like that one.
Then sometimes I'll go back like, you know what? I didn't like this one actually.
Unlike it, dude. That's a savage move. You imagine that person, they're like, oh, I got one like on my video. And then they look back and just like, oh,
fuck you. You got 0 likes.
I'm a pretty savage guy like that.
Crushing dreams.
Yeah, the one thing that people don't understand with being in a band, the amount of social media content you have to be able to put out.
Yeah.
To stay relevant with promoting shows, new songs, snippets, riff of the week. I'm pretty sure there's more stuff in there that I'm missing.
Yeah, it's a lot. Like, gone are the days of just being able to go on stage and play your stuff and everything works out and you get this giant budget from some like record label. Like, the music industry is definitely changing and it is like really cool in one way where I feel like it makes bands a lot more accessible to people because like they're so active on social media, you get to know like people's lives and stuff like that. But man, it is a lot of work.
Well, and I know with like doing weekly show posts and everything like that, like being able to, like I've had people from Canada posting on that, like, not going to make it to Canada, but hey, that's awesome that I can find these bands in Canada or Australia or without having to have the little demo records that you get at the record store where it's like one track of this guy, one track from this band, one track from this band, where you can just go on there and find bands.
For sure. And it's like, that's really good because it makes things easier to find, but then I feel like that creates a lot more, I don't know, like competition, I guess is the best way I could describe that. Like, it's because everybody's like out there in front of you, it's like you have to do something to stand out. So like that's the toughest part, is just finding like a way to do things in your own way, but also kind of be different enough that people like latch on to it.
That's why when we play shows, we let our balls hang out.
It's true. It's true. That is one requirement.
Welcome to the internet. Got a little bit of everything inside.
That's the advantage of being able to do stuff with like interviewing bands and things like that. You just get to ask the random questions and have conversations.
That's exactly it.
Because like you said, you got to be different and stand out. And having like the set questions where it's like, okay, where do you guys perform? How'd you guys get noticed? How'd you guys form?
Did we get noticed?
What string gauge do you use?
11, obviously.
Nah.
Like, they get to the point where, like, they're just so mundane and boring, so rather than doing that, you sit down and have conversations, and it seems to go a whole lot better.
Definitely. Yeah.
For sure.
We do
It's more human.
Yeah, it doesn't seem so robotic, but yet I can't find work for journalism because I don't have 12 years of experience and 37 doctorates and...
Yeah, well, and they also want somebody who has 15 years experience and is under 25. So.
Yeah.
And we're going to pay you $7.50 an hour.
Yeah.
If you're lucky. It's probably just an internship.
Yeah. You've got $300,000 in college debt, but we'll pay you $625, and you have to pay all your own expenses.
Touching on the real topics.
Oh,
here.
yeah. It just got real.
It's got too real for me. Having an existential crisis right now.
Well, and like you guys are kind of all over the place too, where like you said, Denver made comments about shows in Dallas, up to Nebraska. Where are some of the other places you guys have?
The farthest we've gone out, and this is kind of a funny story, we played, DJ and I played as a two-piece one time. We went all the way out to Ocean Springs, Mississippi. It was the longest drive we've ever had to a show. The show was cool, it was good. It was for this festival that we were on. But yeah, we just go wherever we can, wherever people want to hear our stuff. So we're kind of taking a little bit of a break, I guess you could say right now. We've got a couple Wichita shows in the books, but we're working on a new record. So we're going to put a 5-song EP out here relatively soon. Tracking that right now. But then we're going to be right back to it, going out of town, doing all the things and all the places.
Well, with you guys being in Wichita, there's obviously a really great music scene here that's very supportive, but you also don't want to oversaturate yourself in the area.
Yeah.
So how do you guys kind of avoid doing that? Because obviously, like I said, you guys people speak very highly of you, so you're probably very sought after in this town.
I think the music scene's definitely growing and building, and it's in a better place now than any time I can remember in recent history. So I think we kind of took it for granted a little bit at the beginning and didn't play Wichita, maybe enough. We were all out of town playing all these shows and stuff like that, but it definitely felt like recently we kind of came to the realization it's man, we can play Wichita a lot more, and the shows have been better. We just recently, we've been playing a lot of shows with Temple Live, and shout out to 1% Productions for hooking us up with all those shows.
Which you guys also just had your first sold out home show.
That's where I was going with that, yeah. So that kind of proves, I think, that Wichita is on the right track. There have been very few sold out shows I can think of in Wichita, and it's usually this massive, insane band that, has all the hype. And Angel Maker definitely had a lot of hype coming in, but I don't think anybody expected that show to be as big as it was. Right. And even hearing comments from them after the show being this was an off day and this is what we get, it's just it proves that Wichita is on the map, and
They're
definitely
loving metal again.
It's starting to get back on the map for the positive reasons.
Exactly.
I know for a long time ago, Wichita was one of those, you had to know a person who knew a person who knew somebody.
There's some shady ass promoters back in the day.
Yeah.
To come play for 12 people at the Lizard Lounge.
Well, I feel like there's just a lot of support in the scene between the other bands and stuff. Just quick shout outs, Galdrar, Suffocate the Skies, some of our really, really good friends when it comes to bands.
Parallax.
Yeah, Parallax as well. We've got all these bands that are just we're in their court, they're in our court. We're just the support is something that I feel it's tough to do in a music scene because everyone wants to be competitive and everyone wants to be the biggest or best or whatever. But that's one thing I don't think Wichita's really struggling with right now. Is it seems like Wichita's very supportive. All the bands are showing up to each other's shows and being really active on social media and stuff like that. So it's in a really good place right now. It just feels very positive.
Well, obviously being out of town, paying attention to other areas, like you said, everybody's supporting everybody, and I think that takes away from the competition on how it used to be okay, we got to be better than these guys. Now everybody's
right.
Hey, we don't have a show this weekend, but these bands do, so go check them out. Mm-hmm. Everybody's it's a big circle, so everybody wants to see everybody succeed. It's no longer I'm the top dog. It's okay, we're recognized and known, so maybe we can help get some people to these guys' show, because they're really good and we want to see these guys succeed too. So.
Definitely, and I feel like it's the old adage, a rising tide lifts all ships. Everyone had this idea of if one band does well, that means we're doing worse or what. And I don't feel like that's the right way to think about it, because in my eyes, if another band's doing really well, it's like, okay, what is making them, you know, like do so well recently, and it just kind of makes you want to step up your game. So I feel like there's a lot of that like going on in the scene right now, where it's like other bands are really like stepping up to kind of meet the challenge, but not in a competitive way, more of in just like a, I don't know, it just feels like it's building and building. Like
kind of like doing a show where like, okay, this band opens, but they come out with crazy energy and put on like an incredible show, and you guys are after them, and you're like, okay, we got to match that.
Exactly.
And it's not like a competition, but it's like you want to keep that energy rolling and going, and you're like, oh fuck.
Yeah, it's positive momentum.
That was probably one of the best sets, dude. We got to bring the A game, because we're gonna piss off the next band after us, because they're gonna see that energy and they're gonna go, fuck those guys. And it's not like a competition. It's just making the show that much better with the, like you said, positive energy. And that's always kind of fun to see, where every now and then you'll see like the headliner kind of drop off at the end, and you're like, okay, every band was killing it up to that point, and they kind of fell off. And
it's the worst. That drop off where like, this is the band I'm here to see, and they go last, and you get on there, and you're like, well, I mean, the band that opened was kind of brought more energy to the show.
Yeah, I've seen that. There's been a few times, and some of the bands, it was a little disappointing with the level of their name brought with them, and seeing them, and you're just kind of like, that's what I waited for.
Yeah.
I think some of that too you have to take with a grain of salt, like especially if they're touring. How many shows did they play before that one? And they might just be exhausted, you know?
Everybody has off days.
For sure.
Yeah.
for sure. I think it's like the fear of that keeps us like moving forward and getting better, though, because it's like we never want to like have our expectation outweigh what we actually perform. So like we're always trying to like exceed everyone's expectations and be better than they like anticipate us to be. And I feel like we've done pretty good at that. Like we've had a lot of positive feedback, and I mean, like I said, like the scene's really supportive, so it could just be like people just being ultra supportive and being like, yeah, you guys, hell yeah. But like, I don't know.
Fluffing us up.
1 second. We gotta switch again.
Cool. Alright, what do I do with my hands?
Put them in your nose. Alright, we got it. And yeah, I had to switch batteries out, so there's gonna be a slight stall between the things. But yeah, just like also the cool thing about the local scene is seeing like artist vendors and like the live art at the venues too. Mm-hmm. I know we kind of completely switched topics, but from what we were talking about off camera. But yeah, it's definitely a cool thing. But we were talking about covering songs, and like with your guys' Pokemon one being completely out of your realm of music. Definitely. We're talking about Alien Ant Farm's Michael Jackson cover.
Smooth Criminal cover.
Which is probably just as good. And you said you covered Helter Skelter from the Beatles.
So it's never been released. It was only a live thing. But for a couple of shows, you know, anyone who was out at the Skate Farm show, which was sick as fuck, back in 2018 probably? 2017, 2018, somewhere in there. Yeah, we played it there. We played it one other place, I want to say. But it definitely went off way harder at that Skate Farm show. That was a blast. But yeah, we definitely kind of in the vein of the Pokemon thing. I don't want to spoil anything too specifically, but we have some more video game themed things that are kind of coming down the pipeline. There's a certain well-regarded classic game that's being remade that I think we have a very cool take on. So stay tuned.
That's definitely something to look forward to. And that also proves the level of nerdism in metalheads.
Oh yeah.
Well, I'm not a nerd, but
He's the nerdiest one.
He is probably the nerdiest one.
I'm definitely not wearing Naruto socks.
Got him.
93 X-Men socks with Diablo tattooed on the leg.
Fuck yeah, dude, that X-Men series was way underrated. It's so good.
It's back on.
Is it?
Yeah,
man, I loved that as a kid.
Well, and that's the funny thing about like TikTok too, is having kids that are on TikTok all the time, and they're like, "Hey, have you heard this song?" And I'm listening to it. I was like, I think Korn's Blind, and they're like, "Oh, this is like the new popular trending song," and I'm like, that came out in '93, you little fuckers.
Right. Older than you are.
Now I see how our parents felt whenever like I remember specifically one time in front of my parents, they were playing the 80s station, and I was like, oh, this is like the oldies station. And it's like, looking back, like 80s music is sick as fuck.
It is.
And it's just like,
though?
I think it is. But, like, I don't know, I feel like we're in that, like, space now where everything is like, oh, well, that's like the old generation stuff, and it's just like, I remember like it was yesterday.
It is, but there is, I'm going on a slight tangent here. The generation after us, turn it off. The generation after us right now is fascinated with retro, and they don't understand exactly what retro is. Like, my nephew is obsessed with VCRs. He's like, they're retro and cool. I'm like, no, they suck. They're old.
It's like tape decks.
Yeah.
Like seeing bands putting out tape. They're like, hey, you can buy a tape. It's like, why?
Yeah.
Tapes were the biggest pain in the ass ever because you'd have to it'd rip out the thing, so you're over there and you're like trying to straighten it out. 2 pencils. Yeah.
No,
I will say I'm a firm believer though in vinyl. I think vinyl aged so well.
But see, that's correct. I would classify that as like true retro.
Yeah.
Not just old. Like, VCRs are old.
Dude, let's bust out the 8-track.
Yeah,
Let's bust out the 8-track. Listen to some Kiss.
You guys got your Laserdisc? Like, you guys get what's left to watch a movie.
You think there'll ever be a resurgence of HD DVD?
That'll give it 10 years. You heard it.
There's only like 2 years worth of shit that ever got released on HD DVD. It literally got like Blu-ray, like decimated HD DVD.
Oh yeah, within like a short period of time.
They had to pummel them after what happened with Beta. So
I think it was I think PlayStation is the reason that
didn't Xbox have like an HD DVD like add-on?
I think you're right.
Yeah.
I do like now how like some of the games. Speaking of nerd stuff, like the games you can now cross-platform. So
that's amazing.
I can play a game on my PlayStation. You can play a game on your Xbox. We can get on the same server.
That's what always should have been.
Yeah,
exactly. Because I get like some people like PlayStation, some people like Xbox, some people like Switch. But I want a game with my friends. I don't want to go I don't want them to go have to buy a new gaming system or me to go buy a new gaming system. So seeing some of the advances in technology.
Rocket League was a very big proponent for that happening too.
Oh, here we go with Rocket League.
But no, I don't know if you guys ever played a game before that. It was on Xbox 360. It was called Shadowrun. And it came out in 2007, but you could PC and Xbox cross-platform.
Nice.
That was like the only one I'd ever heard of before, but then Rocket League was just like, fuck it, we gotta get everybody.
Yeah.
Oh, Rocket League was
Did you say
Fortnite?
Fortnite.
Was it Rocket League?
I don't know what that is.
I think Fortnite came out first, but I honestly don't know.
It was like 2012 or 13 when Rocket League came out.
Seems
I feel like a lot of that cross-platform stuff, though, is you make a PS5, and if you don't have an exclusive for the PS5, you're not going to sell it. So can they,
I get the business aspect of it, but online games, specifically what you're talking about, like if you want to play Fall Guys, why wouldn't you be able to play that cross-platform? Like if you want to play on the Switch and I want to play on the PC, let's do it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest divide was like the PC versus console gaming thing, and I feel like it's finally being bridged a little bit.
Yeah,
like,
PC will always be better.
Obviously PC is better and has more power, and there's just it's up on the hierarchy. And consoles, I feel like just cannot fit all the necessary hardware to be able to run things that smoothly, and they can't I don't know. You have to have this level with consoles of everything is it lives in its own little home.
It does.
Whereas I feel like with PCs, you can just add on.
This isn't enough, so I'm going to take this one out and I'm going to put this new one in.
Exactly.
Now it's going to run 10 times faster.
Dude, it's hard enough getting an external hard drive that works with the PS5. Jesus.
That's fair.
Or any of the PlayStations, because I've had a couple of them, and now I put all my photos and videos on it because I reformatted it. I'm using it for that because it wouldn't work on there.
Yeah.
But it is kind of nice being able to see certain advances in technology versus going back to retro stuff.
Right.
This is a retro game. You realize that I think I saw the meme or something on it where they're the picture of Mario from the original Nintendo. They're this picture of Mario has more pixels than what the actual Mario itself on the TV had.
It's true.
Yeah.
He only had a handful of pixels. They gave him that mustache so you could actually tell the
distinguish
difference
his
in his face.
Yeah, for real.
Oh, let's see, what else we got? Upcoming, you guys said break, recording EPs, and then back at it. Are you guys going back to doing shows after the EPs finish recording?
Our plan is definitely to like support the EP like very heavily with everything we can, shows, just stuff like this, just being able to like talk about it a lot more. And like, I don't know, it's hard to, like, you heard a few of the new songs, we played them at practice, but like, I feel like we have to have the music out there first. It just feels like that's kind of the one big thing. It's like we could continue playing on the last album. The last album's awesome. We love that album, but I don't know. I think like when people hear the new music, they'll understand why we waited. And then like once we get going again, like I see everything being bigger and better.
But there's also the way that you can like pull in new songs and be like, okay, we think this one fits better here than this one, so we'll take this one out. But if we need to, we can always put this one back in and move this around. And
oh yeah,
it adds to the flow of the set versus like, okay, we're gonna do this one, and then it's gonna change the energy to this one to change the energy to this one.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yep, that's exactly it.
Yeah, I feel like that's the hardest thing is like deciding what songs we want to play, and we always kind of like question ourselves too. It's like, should we add this one in there? Should we take this one out? But I don't know. I feel like we've got a really good set right now that's probably more, like, time-wise, less than half of the set, I feel like, is new stuff. But songs-wise, we have more new songs than we have old songs. Old songs are just long.
I'd like to start a petition that all sets should be at least 45 minutes. So we can play one more song.
One more song.
One more song.
Well, the half-hour thing's kind of a pain in the ass.
It is, and some venues do 20 minutes, which is rough. But
it's rough for a progressive death metal band because it's like, 20 minutes, so we can play 2 songs.
It's kind of like why Machine Head only does their tour, because they're like, they get on festivals and they'd have a 20-minute slot and they literally get to play 2 songs.
Yeah.
Yep. I was bummed. We had a show, so when they came through town last year, a couple years ago.
The evening with Machine Head,
like the 2-hour double set. I think that might have been when we went to Mississippi. It might have been around that time.
I thought it was later than that.
I thought it was December
or something.
Either way, we had a show that night. I was so bummed.
I ran into somebody recently that went to that show and they said it was incredible, so just in case you were wondering.
Thank you for that. Literally one of my favorite bands of all time.
They're very technical, and they're always doing different stuff.
For sure.
I want to see them with Naveen.
Gaffarice?
Yeah. Naveen, dude, he's putting work in the industry right now. He's in every band ever.
He's in another one right now. I literally saw him the other day, and it's like another big band that he's playing in.
I know he's an official member in Entheos.
He's got his own band too, like where he did everything. And
damn.
They're like super brutal. I got them confused with Brain Drill. I got them confused with Brain Drill. It's not Brain Drill though. It's a
Brain Drill was one Alex Bent was in, right?
Yeah.
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 I don't know. Machine Head, Job for a Cowboy.
Yeah, that new Job for a Cowboy album is incredible, and the drums are literally some of the most shreddy drums I've ever heard on a record. It's just too good. Too good.
That's the fun thing about, like, being in the music industry, we'll just say it, in the industry and doing all the music stuff, and then finding these other bands where you're just like, holy shit.
Oh, yeah.
That's the best part.
I think the last holy shit moment we had playing with a band was Gorod. Like, we saw them, we were just like, what the hell is this? Like, I don't know.
Those guys were so damn technical.
They were so tight. It was insane. That literally, like, kind of speaking of just trying to feel like we always have to keep up and, like, it's not necessarily competition. It's more of just, like, holding ourselves to a standard. That right there was like, okay, like, I think our standard's too low. We need to be, like, tighter, cleaner, like...
More pauses.
More pauses.
Why are you looking at me?
But no, I get that. Like, you can tell when, like, for instance, bands cross into different... Not like a different platform where it's like, okay, you got the top guy on the totem pole in the local scene, and then they cross into that bottom totem on like the levels where certain bands are on certain levels, and they're always always changing.
Yep.
Like,
become the big fish in the small pond kind of thing,
well,
or small fish in a big pond.
Well, you were big, but now you're small, and then you're small.
You think you're a big fish in a small pond, and then you go to the big pond or the ocean, and you're like, oh,
I'm a goldfish, and that's a kraken.
Yeah, exactly.
oh fuck, I'm a grain of sand.
Yeah, exactly. On a beach.
Well, and that's like with seeing, like, you guys have a bunch of bands coming through, and being able to see, like you said, Gurod, which isn't. A lot of people don't know them, but yeah, those guys were insane.
They played like they're in a sold out arena.
They really did.
Well, then like I went and saw Pantera and Lamb of God, and
Nice.
Lamb of God just demolished, and they were on all fucking night. It's like, okay, I get why they're at that that level that they're at, and then seeing Pantera come on, knowing that it was not Pantera,
Right.
Yeah.
but it's
Still
the,
Zach Wild.
it's the best version of Pantera I'm going to see in my lifetime.
For sure.
Yep.
Because I wasn't old enough to catch them when they were doing all the touring, and then
Same.
they broke up, and then all the tragedies happened. So it's like, I got to see this version of them, and like, I understand why they were at the level they were at, and they still had that energy, and it's like, just some bands have it, and some bands don't.
It's true. I mean, right off the top of my head, best live show I've seen, All That Remains.
Oh my god, it was
They
so
were
good.
so, and they had a fill-in drummer,
Yeah.
and he killed it. Worst live show I've seen, Metallica. Terrible. Walked out. It was not good.
It was, I mean, I don't know if we caught them on a bad night or if it
And
was because
that's always
the other
possible.
thing too, we saw them at a very open air stage. It was at Mile High Stadium in Denver. And so, like, the sound's blowing all over the place. Like, it was kind of hard to tell what was going on. So, like, I don't know. It's tough. Like,
That
I would give them another chance. I'd go see Metallica again.
I mean, I would go see Metallica again, but not for that price.
I will say the one cool thing they did is you bought a ticket to that Metallica show and they sent you a copy of their new CD with the ticket.
Which
like,
I still have, and it's still sealed. I never opened
Dude,
it.
it's a good record. Like, I feel like they've been on a resurgence recently where that last record was good, Death Magnetic was good. Obviously, everyone shits on Saint Anger because Saint Anger
Trash.
sucks. Saint Anger sucks.
I like one song on the album.
Yeah, that's
I
one
like
song
one
too many.
song.
That's one song too many off of that
I
album.
think that's like a general consensus, but yeah, seeing Metallica is, they're going back, well, and they also got like on a new record label, and they have, like, they kind of got out of that other contract, so it's like, okay, we're going to get these albums out so we can get out of this deal.
I will
and now
say-
we're going to go do our own thing again.
On a positive note, from that same trip, we saw Revocation and Morbid Angel on the exact same trip. It was like the day before, day after, one of the two. Both those bands fucking killed it.
Suffocation was on that bill as well. Revocation, Suffocation. I'll never forget that.
A lot of Asians.
A lot of
Lot of
Asians. And that was at a much smaller venue. It was a back-to-back thing. Like, we went to one show at Mile High. The other one was slightly out of, like, the downtown area.
Yeah, I don't remember the name of the venue, but it was a cool venue.
It was a cool
It was
venue.
kind of like their Temple Live, it felt like.
It was a great weekend from what I remember.
From what you remember.
Well, and I like seeing bands in like the smaller to medium sized venues.
Absolutely.
Yeah, more intimate.
Like-
More intimate, yeah.
Like for the Wichita scene, like the Cotillion or like some of the ones that have the arena on the end of their name, or like Sandstone or whatever the fuck it's called now. Verizon Wireless.
Oh, yeah, the one that was in Bonner Springs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sandstone Amphitheater. Like some of the outdoor venues are nice, but like if you've got a certain wind out of a certain direction, you ain't gonna hear shit.
Yeah. We kind of experienced the same thing at Red Rocks. Greatest venue I've ever been to, in my opinion. It was like vibey, cool. In the day, Devin Townsend and Gojira played, and they sounded incredible. And then the night, it got freezing cold. The wind was whipping everywhere, and Opeth came on, and I'm sure they played a great show, but the sound out in the crowd was just not there. So it's just like, I don't know. It's a struggle. It's like the coolest venues, I feel like sometimes don't have the greatest sound, but I will always remember, seeing metal bands at Red Rocks. That was like a highlight of my life.
I bought a $60 hoodie, and then
Well, we had to. It wasn't even an option. We had to buy $60
It got
because we were
so cool.
dying. It was like 75 degrees when we got there, and it was like 32 degrees when we left.
and we descended like 18,000 stairs in the dark. That venue is slightly dangerous.
Dude, here in town, the Wave has a really cool outdoor
Yes.
wave.
Yeah,
I
the
really
wave
like
kind of
that.
has like a festival kind of vibe going on. Like I know, like normally you'd have a festival where there'd be like a bunch of stages. It seemed like they took one stage out of a festival and just like plopped it in the back of the wave. But we saw As I Lay Dying and Shadow of Intent and
Whitechapel.
Brand of Sacrifice and Whitechapel there. That was a crazy good show.
I saw Bad Omens there. They killed
That's right.
it.
You saw, I think, A Day to
And
Remember
A
there
Day
too,
to
right?
Remember, They killed it. And then, who was the other band? Not Buck Cherry, but it felt like Buck Cherry. Beartooth. Beartooth is just
Berry
modern
Cherry,
day
dude.
Buck
That's
Cherry.
my favorite band.
Which
Berry
is funny,
Cherry.
Buck Cherry's still touring.
I know that it's unfortunate, but
They,
you just
it's
post
funny,
and
that's
cut
the
all
one
this out.
song that he goes with. Not Crazy Bitch, but it's...
Dude, he loves the cocaine.
Yeah, they came through Grand Island, and some of the people that I work with are like, "Are you going to?" And I was like, They would have been cool to see, like, early 2000s.
Yeah, if I was on cocaine and it was early 2000s, and
If you were on
like,
a plane on cocaine,
yeah, and I had like a big natty daddy in my pocket, like I'd go to the show.
Well, like, there's certain bands, like, you want to try to see them as close to their prime as you can. Some bands still have that prime that's going.
Exactly. The window is not the same. Like, would I go see Hinder today? No.
you wouldn't see the lips of an angel live.
Not with the new vocalist.
But if you saw them back in, like, what was that, 06?
Oh, you would've been
something like
getting
that.
down.
Oh, I would have been there, and I've been like, the lips of an angel.
DJ would have been throwing his panties on stage.
But yeah, there's certain bands, like, you'll see them come through, and it's like, okay, I get to see them finally, and then you watch it, and you're like, I wish I would have caught them, like,
Yeah.
20 years ago, 15.
It's rough because it's like kind of like you mentioned with Pantera. It's just like we weren't like able to go see them because like I don't know about like your parents, but my parents probably were not about to send me to a Pantera show when I was
no.
like 6 years old. You know, like I mean, I think they broke up when I was like 6 to 8, like somewhere in that frame.
2002, somewhere in
Yeah,
there.
so it's just like I don't know.
I was a senior in high school, so
Yeah.
like I couldn't. I don't see my parents let me go to those shows back then. They
For real.
might have, but I wasn't quite sure how to ask to go to those shows back then.
Can I go to a show? Who are you going to see? It's some like Christian band.
My parents would have been like, bullshit. Who are you going to? We know better than this.
It's Faith
My
Hill, I'm
mom
pretty
didn't
sure.
even like me listening to Hybrid Theory by Linkin Park.
Well,
because I
man.
said, shut up.
That's Satan.
She
Talk
talk
about-
about all those Harry Potter books.
Talk about a band I wish I would have seen live and just we'll probably never get the opportunity. Linkin
Yeah.
Park, man.
I mean, it doesn't matter if you get the opportunity, you'll never get to see Linkin Park.
yeah, you won't get to see Chester.
Which is one of, like, I think vocalists for certain bands, like, you can replace a guitar player and it still
You can make it work.
be the,
You're replaceable.
or
the
like,
players are
or like
replaceable.
certain times, like AC/DC. Most people don't remember the Bon Scott one. They now know the guy that's been there for the last, what, 40 years.
Well, I still remember I've got big balls.
I get big balls
He's got big balls.
big balls.
But, like, there's certain, like, if you replace a vocalist after, like, say, the first album, and
It's
then you
tough,
have
yeah.
a 20-year run with it, people are only going to know that one
For sure.
vocalist. It'd be like when they replaced Odorous from Guar.
Yeah, yeah.
It's still Guar, but it's not the same Guar that, like, most everybody grew up with.
That's
Yeah,
fair.
it depends the amount of time you had with each one. Like, Silosis is a perfect example. They had a dedicated vocalist on the first album, killed it. Amazing vocalist. He left, biggest mistake he made in his career. And then the, what's the guitar player's name?
Josh Middleton.
Josh Middleton was like, fuck it, I'll do vocals. And now you listen to Silosis.
He's got an incredible
that's-
voice.
Yeah, that's all you hear is his voice.
I think, yeah, that's the thing. Like, a lot of people latch on to vocals more than anything else. So, yeah, when you replace a vocalist, it's almost like, oh, but, like, I remember the band this way. Whereas, like, guitar players do have their own voice on the instrument, and everyone's finger tone sounds different, but it's less discernible.
Well,
than
like,
a
okay,
vocalist does.
Randy Rhoads to Zach Wilde.
Yeah.
Like,
What about Jakey Lee?
Yeah, what about
But like that was probably one of the biggest changes, unfortunately, that you can put in a band, like in that type of music genre.
For sure.
Everybody's like, it's Randy.
One of the
Yeah.
And
greatest.
then,
yeah.
and then Zach picked that up and took off with it, or like when Cliff Burton to Jason Newsted,
yeah.
but then Newsted to
Robert.
Trulio.
yeah.
Yep.
Trulio. That's
Like
the whitest thing I've ever heard.
He's related to Coolio.
There's those certain ones where it's obviously a change and people noticed it, but there's also a progression in the change that made it.
Well, I mean, in the case of Cliff Burton and Jason Newsted, all you have to do is you're like, okay, Cliff Burton, turn him way up in the mix, and with Jason Newsted, it's like turn him down to where he's barely hearable, and then they're like, turn him down another 5
Which
dB.
is unfortunate because Jason Newsted is a good bass
He is
player.
really
Oh,
good.
yeah.
Yeah.
He got a raw deal.
What was the band he was in before Metallica? Was it Flotsam and Jetsam?
Oh god, I don't know.
He was in like a pretty big band.
Yeah.
And then he went and did. He's like after he left, he's done some other stuff.
He's been
too.
in like 15 bands since
Yeah.
then. That dude is all over the place because he just loves
He got
playing
fucked.
music.
He got fucked.
He did because if you listen to And Justice for All with the bass
Dude, and Justice for Jason?
and Justice for Jason, that is exact. Or is it And Justin? and Jason for all. I'm struggling with my words.
I think it's Injustice for Jason. I think
it's.
I have no idea what the hell you're talking about.
Okay, so somebody went on YouTube and they like somehow I don't know if they got the bass tracks or what.
I
But like,
know Metallica when he left, they gave him like I heard something that like when he left, they gave him recordings with the bass actually turned up.
Well, somebody like released a version of "And Justice for All" with Jason Newsted's bass in it, and it's sick, dude. It is so sick.
His bass playing is great. I'm a shout out here to my boy. Listen, you can let Lars go. I'll come in. We can do drums. Next Metallica album.
You say that, but like, okay, the one thing about Lars is I don't think there's a single other drummer that could like do the Lars thing in Metallica. His drums do fit the band very, very well.
I mean, listen, it is hard to hit the cymbals on the offbeat every time.
Dude, yeah.
But he's really
stylistic.
Good at that. Stylistic.
Stylistic.
Yeah, that's exactly what they call that.
Yep. It's jazz.
It's jazz.
He's just jazz.
All jazz, baby. No, we can do a side project. Just give me a call.
Called Not Metallica.
James Hetfield, give me a call. Non-Metallica. We'll do an HBO.
Non-Metallica, I like that.
Yeah.
Non-Metallica.
Which is funny because like every person has their own influences on the music that they listen to, and it's always kind of interesting to see which bands kind of get the heel in for certain people.
Yeah, that's like what I heard St. Anger for me. I was like, nope, done with Metallica.
That's it.
I haven't been back. I'm scared.
Dude, you gotta give Death Magnetic. And what's the newest album? The one they gave us
Hardwired.
Hardwired to
Well,
Self.
I was on the edge when I
started
heard Whiskey in the
seasons
Jarro.
of
I was like,
it.
Whiskey
Yeah.
in the Jarro. And I was
That
like,
was
okay,
on there.
Metallica, you're real close.
That was on their weird cover album,
Yeah.
Garage Inc.
And then fucking that St. Anger came out. And I was like, nope.
We used to listen to one of the classic rock stations at work, and they would play the fucking Bob Seger version of Turn the Page and the Metallica version of Turn the
my
Page,
God.
literally like within 30 to 45 minutes of each other. And I was just like, this is too much Turn the Page.
I'm ready to turn the
Turn the
channel.
radio
Turn the
off.
station. Yeah.
That was one thing I remember at the radio is like one band that always pissed me off is you'd hear this cool riff and it's like, okay, with arms wide open. Like, God damn it.
Dude, I don't know.
He's
It
a
seems
badass
like-
guitar player.
Dude, Mark Tremonti is a badass, but there is a weird thing where like everyone shit on Creed for a long time, and now weirdly enough, everyone's like
People are ready
super
to
supportive
accept
of
that.
Creed.
Same thing that happened with Limp Bizkit. I mean,
It's
But Limp Bizkit was good. Like that's
within the
thing.
next 5 years, it'll be Nickelback. People will finally admit we all
they're
hated
already
Nickelback
coming.
to hate them.
Yeah.
I don't like Nickelback's music, but I love their tones, their drum tones, their guitar tones.
Their
Incredible.
mixes are
Yeah,
insane.
their music's
That's
good.
rock
It's just
smash.
like, okay, with Nickelback, it's the same type of lyrics in a sense for me, where it's
It
like,
is.
okay, I'm in a fast car, I'm fucking this chick, like, cool, you got laid. Write something else.
I love
In
my
his
pants.
defense, though, they rated him the ugliest man in the world at one point. I think that's really just been bothering him ever since. Like Chad Kroeger is like, I am not an ugly man. Look at I
got
fucked
what's
this
his
chick.
face?
I wrote a song about it. I fucked this chick. I wrote a song about it.
I married Avril Lavigne.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
Avril Lavigne.
He did fine. He did fine.
He was her skater boy.
She eventually said, "See you
She
later,
said,
boy."
"See you later, boy."
He wasn't good enough for
Okay,
her.
that is one now that I want to see. I want to see Chad Kroeger on a fucking skateboard.
What if he just shreds, bro?
I bet he does.
That'd be one of those ones where it's like,
That's why
okay, why
his
does
face
everybody not
fucked
shit
up
on
skate.
Nickelback? Dude can fucking skate.
Yeah,
He
right.
can fucking skate. That's all it takes.
Just shredding.
He would have been the next Tony Hawk, but he picked up a guitar instead. So,
I love it.
but you're right. He might be a skater. I think that'd be the one thing that would turn everybody. Be like, okay, Nickelback's not so bad. Like their
Yeah.
music's really good. Creed's music's good. It's just there's certain vocals and certain things where I'm just
Yeah.
like, I'm not a fan of it.
Oh yeah, and that's really that era. Like you've got Deftones, Stone Temple Pilots. All those bands are the same band.
You can fucking
They
Yeah, I
don't
don't know.
sound like
I don't
that.
think they're the same
Deftones
band.
is sexy rock, and then or no, horny rock. There you go.
Horny rock, yeah, I
Yeah.
can see that.
I liked early Deftones,
Yeah.
and then when they kind of changed, like after the Shove It My Own Summer, and they kind of changed all their stuff,
Yeah.
I was no longer really a fan of it because it's like I get bands progressing and doing different things, but it's just one of those where it's like it's not my thing, so I'm just gonna
I love to judge. I don't actually listen to any of those bands. It's like
See,
Incubus.
well, I was gonna say like Korn for me, like after Issues.
Their first 4 albums.
Yeah, their first 4 albums amazing. After that, I just didn't like them. The Untouchables. I'm sorry, and I know like a lot of people love. I'm coming, I'm done. Like whatever.
I love that song.
I can't.
I don't know. Maybe
I can't
it's,
stand it. It sounds too popular to me.
maybe it's just because when I was growing up, I remember seeing, is it See You on the Other Side? I think that's one of their albums. I remember seeing the deluxe version of that and had all kinds of crazy artwork and stuff. I literally bought that because of the artwork and listened to the hell out of that album. So I don't know. I like a lot of the Korn stuff. I feel like even they put a song out that I really liked maybe like 5 to 6 years ago or something like that. Like Cold.
They still have some bangers. Yeah, Cold.
Yeah.
I can't
They
wait
got
for
heavy
people
again.
to quit hating on Slipknot.
Hey, I like their. I
think
their first 2 albums.
I think the
Made
vast
me-
majority of the world doesn't hate on Slipknot though. That's the thing.
That's
Everyone
true.
like loves them.
There is one person who does not hate on Slipknot anymore, and that is Machine Gun Kelly.
And in other news, Machine Gun Kelly has changed his name. He is now PopCap Tommy.
I changed my mind.
Tommy.
I still thought that whole fiasco when that stuff was going on was hilarious because they're like, Slipknot fans attack Machine Gun Kelly. They threw a branch, and you're looking at the picture of the video, and you're like, where did they get the tree branch from to throw on stage at him?
They brought a new
All right.
branch.
This is a message to anyone watching. If you come to our shows, we do allow tree branch throwing, so you can throw tree branches at us all day.
You can throw tree branches at him literally all day.
Why me?
Yeah,
Why
I think
me?
it's one of those things where like people would rather hate on bands than see what they're doing or
Right.
what
Oh,
they've
for
done.
sure.
It's much easier to hate on something you've never heard
Yeah.
before.
And that's
It
always
takes
that's
Then why'd you look at me?
It takes effort to listen.
Because you're like,
and
I hate Deftones. I mean, I've never listened to them, but I hate them.
Well, them and Stone Temple Pilots and Incubus are all the same.
Hey,
band.
All
STP
3 of
is
those
awesome.
bands are very different from
And
each
didn't
other.
they have the
Yes.
other one, the dog, something dog?
Temple of the Dog,
Temple
dude.
of
That was
the
the
Dog.
was that Pearl Jam and Stone Temple?
I think
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh man, breaking
What's the other Creed band?
Oh, no, you better not say
Alter
Pearl
Bridge,
Jam.
bro.
Pearl Jam.
Pearl Jam
You said
is a
Creed
legend.
Bush.
Oh,
I
I
mean,
was thinking Creed
here's
band.
Pearl Jam, and then
I was thinking of the
Alter-
band that Creed became, which is Alter Bridge, which is sick.
That band
Alter
is sick. They
Bridge
did
Alter Bridge is
Cunnilingus.
badass.
Yep.
When I also
Cunnilingus.
like Creed to Alter Bridge is how they changed pretty much everything, and it didn't sound like either of the 2 previous. Well, the vocals are going to still sound like Chris Cornell, but how they changed what they were doing into their own thing.
Turns out if you drop Christianity and your shitty singer, you actually are a great band.
Ooh, the funk it. The more you know.
Yep.
I don't even know where we're going with that whole.
You never know with
It
us,
just
man.
derailed.
We just derail until it gets so derailed that we end up back on the.
I mean,
No, he said Incubus.
yeah, and
STP.
he was just randomly throwing
Oh yeah, it was
random.
about hating on bands and everything. It was
Hate on
about-
bands you never heard before. That was the topic.
Which he's right. It is easier to hate on a band that you've never listened to. Like when Justin Bieber was the top thing, and everybody's like, "Oh, he sucks." It's like I don't have an opinion.
Well,
yet.
if you listen to him,
so
sucks.
so what I did was I went and like, okay, I found 3 songs and I went and listened to them, and it's like, okay, I don't really like it.
yeah,
This is-
that's the thing. I have had that before where like I don't know, I think it's just human nature. You're like, oh, well, other people have said they don't like that, so I don't like that, and then you hear it and you're just like, actually, it's kind of good. Like I've had that happen to me multiple times. I've been like talking shit on somebody, and then I heard it, and I was like, well, let me apologize to like 300 people that I told this band sucks. Doja Cat.
But it's
Taylor
also
Swift.
like
Oh.
I've noted. Well, Taylor Swift, I like what she does
I like
because
Taylor
she
Swift.
writes her own songs.
That's
The
true.
fact that
That's always
she's-
been the thing.
The
She
fact
writes-
that she's got that many #1 songs by writing it. Granted, she's shitting on the ex-boyfriends,
It's fair.
but the
We're gonna
fact that
start
she's
ranting about
got
Jack's ex-girlfriends.
I can't wait till her and Kelsey are broken up, and then she comes out with Tiny Dick Football Player.
Tiny Dick Football Player, my new single.
or the hit single, he got his team a ring before me.
Fair.
Damn.
Somebody
that is actually fucking
Dude, well,
great.
somebody asked him in an interview right before they were about to play the Super Bowl, they were like, who's getting a ring first, Taylor or the 49ers? I was like, what a dick question.
Yeah, definitely.
And it was
Taylor.
He showed it to him, though.
And it was Kansas City.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They weren't even on the board.
Yeah, there's certain things where it's always funny with social media where people get on a tangent. Oh, Taylor Swift this, or fuck these guys, or fuck that. It's always interesting watching where it goes.
Oh, yeah, for real.
Like especially with
I
the
don't
drama in the ITs or the ICT that was popping off a few weeks back.
What's that?
Oh, with the guy from Witch Cradle.
Oh, I don't even. I work with one of the guys from Witch Cradle.
Oh, it was funny. There was a post, and it was one of those, like, I started reading through the like, there was 250 comments, and some guy was going on a tangent. I'm going to kick your ass.
Oh, yeah, I did.
Like,
I did hear about that.
I think, like, everybody kind of stopped doing what they were doing, ran to a safe place where they could scroll and read, and I'm like, bathroom break, all right. Scrolling through it, reading the comments.
That was a weird situation, because it's like, okay, the dude from Witch Cradle was like talking to this dude basically, and the dude was like obviously having some sort of crazy mental crisis because he was saying some wild, crazy shit to this dude. So it's just like,
wasn't
crazy, dude.
Wasn't Rick Mason, was it?
It was.
Oh, fuck, dude, I like Rick. He's a good guy.
Yeah, he's gone off the deep end,
He has gone off the deep end.
So, if you're listening,
Rick, we love you.
I don't know you, but it's very clear. It's very clear that you need to make some adjustments.
You're an amazing. Shut up.
Yeah, I feel like
fucking shit on Incubus.
that's the one good thing. When you said drama in the ICT, I was like, oh fuck, what now? You know, but like I feel like the benefit is it's always something weird like that, where it's like somebody kind of shit posting and somebody taking it too seriously and then like going too far. Like that seems like that's been the drama recently. It's like I can handle shit posting drama.
I like how a lot of the music scene lately doesn't have a whole lot of drama.
Oh yeah,
right.
And if there's a couple people that are causing problems, everybody just kind of like it's a unwritten thing. Like you're watching it, and it's like, okay, we're gonna exile these people, and like no one's gonna mention them until they start either acting right or just disappear out of the scene.
That's not high
He's
school.
been having a rough time for a while.
I guess that's why I don't do social media, because I love stirring that.
Yeah,
pot,
well,
dude.
here's the thing, Jack.
Over there.
Here's the thing, though. I feel like you and me are in the same boat where it's like, if there's actual drama, it's like, well, cool, now let's fight. Like, that's the one piece that's missing. So, everyone in Wichita, if you want to get into drama with each other, that's fine, but fucking fight. Fight afterwards.
Punch each other in the face, work your shit out, and move on.
Meet at the park over on West Street.
You should do it at the show.
I'm gonna get my ass beat the next time I show my face in public.
Like 6 people are gonna jump in.
Hey, yo, I always want
This
to
guy wants to fight, dude.
One at a time.
Yeah, clarify. Let's fight one-on-one.
I'll take 2 at a time.
You'll take on 2. Jack
No,
can take
more than 2.
Jack
No,
can
no,
take
no,
3
no.
men.
I feel like Jack could take 3.
Well, in a fight, though?
Like a fight,
Alright, these guys are fighting next.
And we have now officially watched the breaking up of...
It happens.
Just like that, they were a 2-piece again.
Talk about a depressing set list to play. Just the 2 of us trying to give 300% effort.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Should be. Haven't heard an apology from Justin yet.
I'm not.
I wasn't even in the band yet, dude.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like how everybody's kind of all... And it's... Even like up in Nebraska where I'm at, like everybody's kind of all on the same page, promoting everybody, supporting and showing up to shows that they're not at or everything like that, and keeping the drama to a bare minimum. And I think if you have an issue with somebody, rather than posting on social media where it's public, you should take it and be like, hey, Adam,
DM him, yeah.
I saw this post, man. What the fuck is it about?
Yeah,
because
I
I feel like you're attacking me. I just want to make sure it's not about me.
Yeah.
And if it is, how can we resolve it?
For sure. I think a lot of it is people let their ego get in the way, and they see something that resonates with something they might be doing. Even if the post isn't about them, they immediately take it personally and be like, that motherfucker's talking shit on me. It's like, no, he's probably talking shit on, some of the other 7 billion people on this earth. Like, you're not that fucking special.
Unless it's like, so-and-so, go fuck yourself. Okay.
Yeah, and that's the case.
And they tag you in it, and it's like, okay, this one might be about me.
Yeah, it might be.
I never let that bother me. I'll just respond and be like, cool story, bro. Like, you know where I live. You can either show up here or I'm just going to ignore you.
Well, and like the keyboard warriors now are really big.
Oh, they're thick.
Everybody's got a huge cock.
Online.
Like,
An online huge cock.
EP.
Yeah. Yep. That EP.
Well, speaking of like just shit talking, there's a group that I follow. It's like haunted places or abandoned places, and somebody posted like, "Hey, do you know any abandoned places in Nebraska?" And they're like, "That'd be cool to visit." And they're like, "Oh, at the border when you're leaving." It's like, the fuck did
You gotta gatekeep the whole state?
But guess what? I'm not gatekeeping anything, but like if you mention a band, it's like, okay, I'm not gonna ask you if you know 3 songs from it, because
Yeah.
I love that. You put me on the spot. I'm like, I literally can't think of a single song. Like, if you said name 3 Metallica songs, I'm like, one. That's one.
Off of this album, tracks 1, 3, 7, and 9 are killer tracks. Off of this album, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 9.
I'm a number guy as well.
Because on the CD players, like, it doesn't tell you what the name is. You just know that track 13 on this album is your favorite track on this album.
Yeah. I've been playing our album for 2 years. I don't even fucking know the names of the songs.
No, but I feel like maybe back in the day when people were like listening to vinyl and they were like, you know, you're like stoned and you're like staring at the cover art and you're like, yeah, hell yeah. And then you turn it over and you're like, oh, that's what the song's called. Back then people knew song names, but anymore, like,
he says
you're
back in the
listening
day, he literally does that on a daily basis.
Dude, that's the part of the fucking great thing about vinyl is getting real fucking high and looking at the cover.
That's true.
But what I will say is I feel like today's like way of ingesting music is much more like listening to it and not necessarily paying attention to the cover art, the titles, like I was the guy when I would buy CDs back in the day, I would like read every single word inside of the CDs. Like I wanted to know who the band was thanking. Like I don't know why. Like I just really cared about it.
It was always kind of a cool thing to see who they were shouting out, and it's like for what reason? Like, hey, we want to thank Mike over at this studio for always doing killer photography work.
Thanks for bringing donuts.
Everyone's thinking like Johnny or whoever it is, or Ernie Ball. I'm like, dude, I gotta know this Johnny guy. He's obviously cool as fuck.
He never emailed us back, guys.
It's true. Ernie Ball, hit us up.
Ernie Ball, hit him up.
But yeah, some of those things are always kind of interesting to see. But yeah, the gatekeeping thing. The only issue that I have is like you'll see like a 12-year-old kid with like a Death Row record shirt on. Like, dude, just name me an artist off of this thing. I'm not trying to gatekeep. I want to know why you're wearing it.
Yeah.
Dude, Tupac was It was my favorite rapper. Okay, you at least.
Yeah, at least you know one.
Yeah. And it's like okay, there's
for sure. I think a lot of it is like fashion has become like you even see it in like the pop world where they're like kind of like using like metal looking logos and metal imagery.
When the Kardashians were wearing the Slayer t-shirt.
Yeah, for sure. So I think a lot of it has become just like fashion of like it's cool aesthetic, which is like maybe pay attention to that for the last like 30, 40 years because metal's always had a cool aesthetic. Like why are you just finally like cool with it? I don't know. I think I choose to see the positive in it though. Is like okay, well somebody somewhere is gonna see Kim Kardashian wearing a Slayer shirt and being like, all right, well let me go check out Slayer.
And then you're gonna see Gary Holt wearing a Kill the Kardashian shirt. So
that's fair. It is a vicious cycle.
Which is a funny rebuttal.
Yeah.
Like, what do you feel about this? This is what I feel about it. Ha
Fuck, I'm surprised with like all the like sway they have in the universe. Like that dude didn't get arrested for just wearing that shirt.
No doubt.
He's not the president. I mean, I think the president's the only one that has that kind of pull.
Dude, Kanye was almost the president though. He could have been like, I got their back, dude. That guy's going to jail. Probably wouldn't have though.
Who also fucked up the lyrics for Bohemian Rhapsody.
Oh God.
I mean, if you're gonna cover a song live.
Yeah, know the words maybe.
Especially when it's on that level of iconic song.
We were at a Between the Buried and Me show one time, and in between like sets, you know how they'll like play like random songs. Like, have like a playlist going. Bohemian Rhapsody came on, and every person like in unison sang every word of that song. It was the most beautiful experience ever.
And then nobody had a voice for the next bit.
It's true. Yeah. That was right before Between the Buried and Me came on. I think.
Yeah, and like they went on, I was like.
We heard what you did. That was fucking awesome. We will accept you having no voice. But yeah, it's always funny watching the playlist between. Like, I've only seen it one time where somebody had an issue with the playlist, and they're like, "I want No Country before my set."
That's
and like went up to the sound guy versus like, "Hey man, really, could you please not play country? It's not really my thing. I'd greatly appreciate it." And like handling yourself a certain way, and he's like, "Dude, I want no country played before my set. Absolutely no fucking country."
Right, don't be a dick.
And it's like, okay, if you're gonna be a dick to anybody in the venue, the sound guy
Toby
is
Keith?
Yeah,
not.
Here we go.
No, the sound guy called me over and he's like, "Hey, watch this." The band got done, and they were tearing stuff down, and in between, he hits play, and you watch the dude's head turn, just like. Red face and everything. He played like Dwight Yoakam, the twangiest country thing he could, and just smiled with that whole "fuck you."
Dude, personally, I love like when like they play like fun shit like that in between. Like even though I'm not a country guy, if they played country right before we went on, I'd be like hoe down and like ready to go. Like our last show, shout out to James Barlow, the best sound guy on the entire planet. He was playing what was like 80s like old rock stuff or whatever, and like everyone was getting down, dude. It was awesome.
It also breaks up the monotony for the eardrums where it's like
the same kind of sounds.
Like okay, if you've got tech death and thrash death and just like all the
death,
like really aggressive metal bands, like you have to have that break in between.
Yeah, it's like a palate cleanse.
Exactly.
It's like a nice sorbet.
Okay, my ears can have a moment to relax, and now I'm ready to listen to the next band.
For sure, it's like a shot of water after 12 beers. Like it's just a palate cleanse.
A shot of water.
Sauce.
A sip of water.
Yeah, I think it's like, you know, it's kind of the old adage, if everything is heavy, nothing is heavy. Like, we kind of take that into consideration when we're writing our music, because it's like, if it's a barrage of blast beats and tremolo pick guitar the entire song, then, like, that whole song is not as heavy as if you had, like, parts that give it, like, breaks and, like, breathing room. Then when you come to a heavy part, it's like, oh, shit. Like, I don't know, that's the stuff that makes me off.
Some of the breakdowns, rather than having it all super fucking...
Calm down, Jack. You're getting off, too.
You know the breakdowns where you hear the chime is that... And then you have like the real technical breakdowns where you're like, okay, that's cool. But some of the ones where it's just that couple notes, and it just amplifies the breakdown to being that more, that much more aggressive or brutal or heavy. Where you're just like, oh, they went really simple on that, and that is really fucking cool.
Definitely.
Suck outs are powerful.
Suck outs, sorry, being powerful. Bring me my knees every time. I was listening to, I was listening to a metal radio station the other day, and it threw on Chimera. I don't remember who here remembers Chimera.
Oh, yeah.
I remember Chimera.
Pure Hate?
Yeah, exactly. So their old stuff.
Chimera, name 3 songs, bro.
Pure Hate, Temple of the Snake, and...
Song 5.
Song 5 off their third album.
Mambo number 5.
Oh, hell yeah.
But a song came on that I didn't know. It came out in like 2013. So kind of when I stopped listening to them, which I think
that was about the time they kind of fell off and they were having members just cycle.
Yeah.
And they couldn't keep certain people in.
But I think that song, it was called Temple of the Snake, something similar to that. And I'm listening, I'm like, oh, I haven't heard this band in forever. I'm like, the song's pretty good. And then it got to the breakdown, I'm like, this is really fucking heavy. Like, this is good. And I went and listened to that album. The album was solid. That song, standout track.
That's one thing I really like about Archspire, just speaking of, like, being very technical, but then, like, kind of, like, stepping back and having a part that's, like, a lot... Clean. Yeah, like, all their clean, like, neoclassical parts and stuff, it just gives you that breathing room to where when they come back in full force, you're just like, fuck! Like, they're doing tech death right.
If you need a stamp of approval, Archspire is my mom's favorite tech death band.
Dude, yeah.
It's that simple.
And we're everyone's grandma's favorite band. That's written in stone. That's fact.
In a few years, they might even be as good as the Faceless was.
The who?
The Faceless was just trying to be necrophagist.
Just not as good.
God, I hope you do heavy editing.
There's gonna be a damn bit of editing. Together.
Oh, are we doing this live?
This is what makes the interviews that much more. They're not your standard type of interview where it's having more fun and it's not so much like, okay, question here, answer here.
Yeah.
Because
cut all the bits of me picking my nose.
That's okay. I did one interview the other day and it ended with Jack in the Box tacos dipped in ranch and
I'd fuck some tacos.
Yeah, hang on, and pineapple in the butthole. Like that was how the video ended.
You'd be amazed at how much shit you can fit in your butthole.
It's impressive.
If I think about pineapples and buttholes, I just think about Little Nicky.
Come on.
Not sure what Hitler had to do, but that's a hell of a punishment.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he did do a Holocaust.
Yeah.
Allegedly, if you're watching some of the people online, they're like, the Holocaust didn't happen.
What?
There were people trying to argue that the Holocaust didn't happen.
That's just because it wasn't streamed live on Facebook Live.
Yeah. It's an indisputable fact.
They didn't get Snapchatted about it.
The NFL Combine is happening right now, and there's a player there who swears up and down he doesn't believe in space.
I did see that.
Space doesn't exist, planets don't exist. It's like, wait, are you serious?
He's got to be fucking with everybody.
I mean, Red Hot Chili Peppers said it in Californication.
Maybe
in a Hollywood basement.
Yeah, that is one of the big ones. Everyone's thinking like we never went to the moon. It's just like, I don't know, man. Like that's just wild. It's wild that people like want to make a conspiracy out
I
of
wasn't
everything.
there during the Civil War. It didn't happen. Well, no shit, you
Yeah.
weren't. You're 12.
There's a lot. I'm sure there was a lot of people back in the day that wish the Civil War didn't happen, but that doesn't mean it didn't happen.
Exactly, and there's certain things where people are. Yeah, the internet's a funny place where
It
you're
is.
gonna
People
believe
just try to make it seem like things didn't exist or things existed in the way that they remember.
the Earth is flat.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the worst one.
It is.
There's
Why can't
a
you see
lot-
the curvature?
And yet you're on a professional sports team that has traveled to different continents and you've done the
You've
Olympics.
been in the sky.
Like,
It doesn't make sense.
you have not done enough drugs to get to that level yet.
What I want to know is, does the water really flush backwards in Australia? That's what I want to know.
Yes.
No.
You haven't been to Australia? Shut the fuck up.
None of us can
But
afford
see,
that
that's
trip.
how it starts.
It is.
Oh,
But like,
one
I remember
yes.
that was like a big thing. Everyone said like the water flushes backwards. Like
Yeah.
I need to know.
Wives' tales and,
It doesn't
information
go down
from your
the hole,
auntie.
it goes
Yeah,
out
it just
the
shoots
hole
into
on
your
the
face.
The world's
floor.
so fucked up. We listened to wives' tales and we listened to our aunties who told us shit, and they didn't know fuck all about anything. Like they're like, oh, if you step on that rusty nail, you're gonna get tetanus, and then everybody just believed that.
Yeah,
I feel
tetanus
like-
isn't even real. I've never had it once.
I've never had.
I based
tetanus.
my whole worldview off of that one Insane Clown Posse song where they're like, fucking magnets, how do they work?
Miracles, dude.
Why are pants different than shirts?
I think there's a lot of good that came with the internet, but there's also a lot of stupid that came with the
Everybody's got
internet.
a
Yeah.
voice now, and that's the
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah, a lot of people don't need voices, including us.
It's like the internet's gonna cure cancer, and now we're just fucking shitposting and memeing everything.
Well, it's like in the year 2020, we're all gonna have flying cars, and then it's a picture of a Subway wrapper and it says, "Please do not eat wrapper." Like that's the world we live in.
Yeah.
Start taking off some of those warnings. Like, let the Darwin effect take in. Take off some of the warnings.
Survival of the
Like,
fittest.
Exactly.
Might be an unpopular opinion, but I agree with Darwin in some circumstances.
Right, and it's kind of like Creed though. We're gonna come back around full circle, and he'll be positive again.
I hope so.
Well, like putting it like on a blow dryer. Do not use to heat bed. Like, do not put under covers. May cause fire. No shit.
Right.
Yeah, I use my hairdryer for one thing only, and that's heating my pipes when they're frozen.
I used to work in insurance a while ago, and they told us
Water
the story
pipes.
about
Water pipes.
it was like all about lawsuits and the litigious nature of today's society. So obviously they told us
Litigious,
about
good word.
obviously they told us about the McDonald's cup where the lady
Yes.
like stuck it in between her legs and then burned her lap because
But dude,
it was
it
too hot.
burned her so good.
It
But
fucked her up.
They had to like put the like warning on there. My favorite one of those kind of situations is all lawnmowers now have to have a sticker on it that's like, don't put your hands under the deck of the lawnmower, because two motherfuckers, like probably drunk, probably like 2 sheets of the wind at this point, they thought it was a great idea. Hey bro, what if we pick up this lawnmower and we use it to like trim our hedges? Like we just use the lawnmower for it, and they got their fingers cut off. So then they sued fucking Snapper or whoever the brand of lawnmower was. Now they gotta have those
Red Bull
stickers on
got
there.
sued because somebody sued because it didn't give them actual wings,
And
and
jumped off a building.
they won 10. No, they didn't. They just drank a Red Bull. I didn't get wings. Lawsuit, $10 million.
Damn.
Like,
Oh my
Now their commercials are Red Bull. It
could
allegedly
possibly
gives you
give
wings.
you-
Yeah.
If you want wings,
Wings and
rings. You need
That's
some
my favorite
absinthe.
restaurant. Wings and rings and things.
Yep, it's the best. The little absinthe that'll put some wings on you.
I'll make it.
I've heard the absinthe that you can get in the States though isn't real absinthe. You have to go overseas for it.
You want if you want the closest
The
thing to
worm-
that
I'm trying to
here,
trip balls, dude.
you got to get the some actual moonshine if you want something that'll fuck you up here.
That's
And
it.
you
want
take
And
that
that's a
shit,
whole
you
different
go.
damn
River
level.
and see.
I was buying beer the other
see
day.
old father-in-law. He makes absinthe.
I was buying beer the other day, and they asked me straight up. They're like, "Hey, do you want to try our Eggo moonshine?" I was like, "I'm good."
Like Lego Mago.
Like, yeah, Eggo, fucking
What?
waffle flavored moonshine.
Yeah, no.
This dude tried to get me to drink peanut butter whiskey. I was like, ugh.
I've heard that's good.
It
I
is
like
good.
I like
It's
pickle
fucking
vodka.
was good.
You ever had the pickle shots?
We did. I was not a fan of that.
We had the spicy ones though. Those ones kind of suck. You got to get like the good brand.
Well, I'm a peanut butter guy. I like
I'm
peanut
peanut
I'm
butter.
a peanut butter guy too. Just don't put it in my fucking
I like
whiskey.
peanut butter.
It
and
was
whiskey.
Screwball.
I like peanut
Screwball
butter. on
peanut
my
butter.
sandwiches,
Dude, don't
like
fucking
peanut
name
butter on
names
my-
here.
Screwball.
Shit on the whole industry.
Shout out to Screwball. That shit was pretty good.
Shout out
I've
to
actually,
Screwball.
I've
That shit
actually had
sucked.
that. It's not bad.
See, it's
I,
not bad.
I liked it.
It was one of those
But
I
Bailey's
saw it, bought a shot of it.
What is the new crown? There's a new Crown.
I've heard it's
right
terrible.
now.
I've heard it's terrible.
Is it?
Fuck. Is it blackberry or something
I feel like
that?
it's like blackberry.
Yeah, I heard somebody
Right.
tried it and they
Crown's
said it tastes like
terrible
straight up
anyway.
cough syrup.
Yep.
Crown
There's
apple.
Was it you that told me that maybe?
There's-
No,
It's just the wrong word, but it'll get you fucked
That's
up.
what he
It'll
posted
get
about
you
it,
fucked
actually.
Maybe.
up.
I
I saw
remember
that too.
Yeah.
I think there's a certain
Dude,
point
just
where it's
smelling
like whiskey should
whiskey
taste like
makes me
whiskey
wanna
and only
That's
whiskey.
fair.
I do
Also,
like
it
ground
should
apple.
taste
I do like
whiskey.
ground apple.
No. Or
I like
whiskey's
some
not
honey
me,
whiskeys.
guy.
I like.
Yeah.
Most of them are too crazy, like sweet. But yeah.
Well, and like,
Best flavored whiskey we ever had. Shout out! It doesn't even exist anymore.
Don't
It's
name
called,
names.
Well, this one it doesn't exist anymore. So we
Yeah,
can name
call it
it.
out.
It was called the Whiskey. I don't know what it's called now, but it was spelled WSKY in Oklahoma City. We were 2 sheets to the wind after a show. We decided to go
7
there to party.
sheets.
Yeah, probably 7 sheets to the wind. And they gave us their cinnamon whiskey. And they were like, hey, this does not taste like, what's the Fireball?
Fireball, which is terrible.
And we were like, okay. And we were like both not really like having any expectations. We tasted it. That shit tasted exactly like fucking Cinnamon Toast Crunch. It was amazing.
And then we proceeded to get 17 more sheets to the wind.
Yeah. And then it closed down and we could never have it again. So there's that. That's life.
That is
That's
life.
And fly.
It's like Byway, rest in peace.
That's true.
They closed?
Yeah, my
It's
way's gone.
It's a really shitty ramen place now.
You can't like pee in their parking lot or whatever.
that's the
Oh my
the downfall
God.
too about the scene in certain places too is like the bars are closing and
Yep.
It's not Jinya ramen, is it?
No, it's Oyashi.
Oh.
And it's not good.
It's not
Like,
Yokohama.
yeah.
Yokohama's the shit.
Yokohama's good.
I heard
They do have
Jinya is really good. Like my buddy said that.
I've heard that is good. I haven't had it.
I
But
learned,
the-
on, I learned on certain places like that, if I walk in and not a single person speaks English and like the person taking the order, very broken English, it's like,
You're about to have the best food.
Okay.
Remember, I told you
This
that
is-
about Fun Kong. I said the exact same thing.
and it's not trying to be mean or stereotypical. It's like if I walk in and I hear, like if you walk into say a Chinese restaurant or a Vietnamese restaurant, it's like, hi, how are you? What would you like? You're awful fucking white. What the?
Yeah, like if
And
I
there's none of the language that you would associate with that culture
Yeah.
there. It's like
For sure.
You want the authentic thing.
Yeah, like fucking Panda Express.
I'm not trying to get white guy fried rice. Like, let's be
Yeah.
real. If I wanted to, I'd
White
make it
fried
myself,
rice.
and it would be terrible. Just like it is at all the white guy fried rice places. Like, I'm sorry.
Panda Express is awful.
It's very
Yeah.
sweet. If they put
like-
so much sugar in everything.
It's like a white Karen went to fucking, what is it, Food Club or Chef Club Network and saw a recipe on how to make rice.
I
saw
got
it on,
this.
saw it
I
on
got this.
Pinterest.
Pinterest.
Yeah, there you go. No, Chef Club, like, on Facebook. They
Saw it on
fucking post shit.
Pinterest. Has watched 3 cooking shows on
Yeah.
HGTV network, and it's like, I got this.
I can do that.
My favorite clip is like that white girl that was on one of those cooking shows, and there's like that viral video of her where she's like 2 shots of vodka, and there's like glug, 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 glug. I was like, that's my kind of bitch right there.
That is. I want that bartender. That's
No shit, yeah. Where do we sign up for that? Because
That's,
I've been to a
that's
lot-
him bartending.
It's like I need a double.
You count 6, right?
So,
2 bottles?
so how's your night going so
Yeah.
far? You guys doing good?
And then just a shot. Yeah.
There's your Long
I said I
Island.
wanted a double. I didn't want like a black tooth grin. Like I wanted a double Jack and Coke. Like, oh, get a little bit more pop in
Well, that's the
there.
thing. You gotta drink it down so the pop will fit in.
You gotta take that one really big gulp there where you're just like, oh, this
You
is-
take that drink and you're like, is it going down? It's going down. It's coming back. All right, it's going down.
It's like, I
That's
want
why
to
you
be
asked
able to
for a
be
small
here.
cup of a pop with it.
I
Small
want
cup
to
of
be
a
here
pop.
for more than an hour. Like,
You got a boot pop.
yeah, a little bit more. All right, we're good. Oh, God.
I get stoked though because I feel like I'm getting more than my money's worth at that point. So I'm just like, yeah, I'm about to get fucked up.
Well, it's like we went to a Mexican restaurant and I got a margarita, took a drink. I'm like, this doesn't even taste like it has tequila. I'm like, I need a shot. She brings it, I dump in. Awesome, tastes great. I asked for another margarita. She brings me another margarita with an extra shot, and I take a drink first. I'm like, this one is strong. Fuck it. We're going in, and then the third one, it's like, I don't need an extra shot with this one.
If you
nothing's
make it
worse.
like that one, I'm good. I don't need the extra.
Yeah.
Nothing's worse than getting a margarita where like it doesn't feel like it has any tequila in it.
Any.
You're just like, I just spent like $6 for a fucking like,
Margarita
sweet and
mix.
sour. Like, yeah, like what the fuck?
That's the thing that when I used to drink, I'd always So I knew I wasn't getting cut off because I knew there was always times I should have been cut off, but I knew all the bartenders. So it's one of those where it's like, okay, I'll take a double of this. Okay, yeah. Yep, I see the alcohol in there. All right, I know that I'm still good. I haven't been cut off yet by the bartenders.
Yeah, I think I've been cut off every time ever.
I tried to fight that horse and that cop though.
Dude, that horse cop meant business that night. Dude, but honestly, something about a cop on a horse just makes you want to make fun of them. Like, I'm sorry.
Did I make fun of them?
You're the one that Sprout was talking about.
I don't remember.
You're looking very tall and muscular, sir. So that's my horse. I'm not talking to you.
Waking up and my jaw felt like it had been realigned, and I was like, "What happened?"
Talk shit, get hit. It wasn't the horse, by the way.
He's like, oh yeah, fuck around and find out. Got it.
I will say, Parthian as a band, we do support horses.
We do.
Horses are cool.
It's the best meat you'll ever eat.
Now, cops.
I don't think anybody. I support the ones that are decent and will treat you like a person versus.
For sure.
Shit, dude. When you find them, let us know.
I found a few, and it's like I got pulled over one time south of Salina, and the guy saw my plates and saw my license, and is like, "You're not from around here, are you?" Keep in mind, I'd lived there for the previous 25 years, and he's like, "You're not from around here." It's like he didn't recognize the last name. He didn't recognize. No, sir, I don't.
Right.
He's like, okay, the speed limit is. I was like 55 because you pulled me over in front of the sign. Do you know how fast you were going? Not 55, apparently. He goes, why'd you pull over? Because I saw you flip around. I'm the only car over here. I figured I did something wrong.
I know that feeling.
I'm just literally the only car.
Yeah, so I pulled over, and he's like, you're not from around here? Nope, well, the speed limit on these back roads are this. Go ahead and do that. You know, don't speed. I'm going to give you a verbal warning. Greatly appreciated. Yeah. Got the verbal warning, called my kid, and was like, hey, I got out of a ticket. I hate you, Dad. Thank you.
I hate to play like devil's advocate, but I do understand why they come in so hot and tense. You know, everybody's against them.
Because they have small penises.
But they're also, like, not all of them. A lot of them are the same way, too. They come in aggressive and hot, and, yeah, I've been slammed down a few times.
You know who doesn't come in aggressive and hot? This guy. Every cop, when they first walk up, he's like, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I do. I try. Well, because, like, I don't know. Like, I feel like if you get a nice one, then they're going to be like, hell yeah.
Hey, the sheriff in Colorado was super nice.
The sheriff, okay. Shout out to the sheriff in whatever county we were in Colorado, because we.
I wasn't going to do it.
So we wrecked the van and trailer driving to a Colorado show. Started snowing, lost control, spun out, all that stuff. And the sheriff that came was really, really cool. Then the fucking state highway patrol, whatever he was, came in. That guy was a fucking piece of shit. Gave us a ticket for reckless driving, even though, like, we were just driving in the weather.
I remember seeing that post, because it was like during a snowstorm, and
I didn't yes sir the fuck out of that guy. I'll tell you that right now.
I notice usually if you yes sir, no sir, and then their attitude changes.
He was very nice, but he still gave him a ticket, which...
He was nice, but a dick at the same time. He was a nice dick. He had a nice dick.
He had a nice dick. Unlike the cop that pulled us over coming back from Hutch, yeah, I don't know if his dick was nice, but he was just chilling.
That was a nice cop.
He didn't call us out for the blunt, though, sitting on the tailgate.
That's true.
Shout out to him.
Yeah, we had smoked a blunt right before. Obviously, a tobacco blunt for anyone watching this in law enforcement.
Yeah,
tobacco blunt. Are bad.
Because it's in a band, and they never do any kind
exactly,
of
yeah, we're fucking sweet, we're nice, you know, we don't do anything wrong.
Probably.
But we smoked half this blunt right before we left the show. I set it on the tailgate, we loaded all the gear, completely forgot about it, and then got pulled over on the way back. Guy was super chill, let us off, everything was cool, and then we got home, unloaded the gear, and realized that blunt was still sitting on the tailgate. And the reason he pulled us over was for a license plate light that was out, and he was like shining his flashlight on our license plate. Somehow just did not see the blunt right in front of him. Or smell it.
I can't believe it stayed there.
Yeah.
The whole way home.
It was wild.
Didn't you also fill up the car full of vape smoke and then roll the windows down?
I thought it'd be a great idea because I was like, well, obviously it's going to smell a little unsavory inside of this thing. Maybe we should fill it up with some smell that's good.
Maybe it wasn't the 30-pack of Coors Light.
Yeah.
Was it?
No, this was a long time ago.
Okay, it was the same way.
He had a raspberry vape at the time, and I'm like, dude, all right, like just take a big fat rip of your vape, blow it out in the car, that way it smells like vape. And we rolled the windows down, and it's just like, and I'm like, oh no, I made a huge
billowed
mistake.
out the window.
You're like, good idea. Not so good idea.
Yeah, this dude's about to correctly assume that we're stoned.
And the lie detector test determined we were.
We were.
Were you stoned? No. Do you guys want some Funyuns? Yes. So you're not stoned? Shit.
I mean, we may have stopped and rolled another and got Funyuns.
Yep.
How high are you? Hi, how are you?
That video's probably one of the funniest. What are you doing waiting for the stoplight to turn green?
It's like that glonky dude. He's just like, it's like, how you doing? He's like, oh, I'm feeling pretty glonky right now. Turns out that guy's a bad person. He like killed his mom or something after that video.
That's fucked up on a positive.
Took like a lighthearted video and just made it a fucking bad story.
I saw one the other day. It's a couple in their car and they're sitting at the stoplight. She's got like a blizzard or something. And he's like, how is it? She looks over and she's just red-eyed as hell. And she goes, bah.
I mean, I would understand that.
I saw that, I'm like, hell yeah.
Dude, have you ever seen the one, like, so you know when they give you a blizzard at DQ, they like tip it upside down? There's this girl that used to work there, and then she was like working at a normal place, giving a normal drink to somebody, and she did it, and it just spilled all over them. She's like, oh my god, I'm so sorry, I used to work at Dairy Queen. I'm just like, man, they're really building those bad habits.
They are.
Yeah, that's fucking horrible.
See, this is the good side of the internet we were talking about.
Yeah.
There are those uplifting videos where you're like, oh my god, I can't believe that happened.
Right.
And there's those other ones where it's like, okay, how much filming do you have to do to be able to catch those things?
Right.
Why are
Like
you filming?
the
Yeah.
blooper reels of the person like jumping onto the ice. Like, okay, we know. I'm sorry, if any of my friends are like, hey, go jump into the water, and they've got their camera out and it's cold outside, you're gonna go, no.
Right.
I'd do it.
Everybody's got that friend.
I just can't imagine how cringy it would be to be the person that's like, I've got to record everything. Like, oh, we're walking into the restaurant, let me record this just in case something happens. It's like, yeah, obviously every once in a while they get a hit.
Yeah,
It's just like,
I mean, if we were doing that, eventually they would have caught you slamming me in the face with a revolving door.
and shoulder checking me into a table full of toys.
I'm sorry.
But
and
yeah.
then sticking a list cigar in your mouth backwards.
Okay, so there's the 3 viral moments out of 300 days.
I think we should start recording everything now. I
Honestly.
completely changed my mind on that one.
My paranormal activities, bitch. I'm gonna put cameras all up over
Yeah.
That
there.
was the
Sound
5th
footage.
time I woke up on someone's back porch. I quit drinking, by the way.
Sometimes it only takes 30 times to learn your lesson.
Some of us are slow learners.
Yeah, I'm a slow learner.
Like having kids. Don't do that. Why? Because it's not a good idea. Are you sure? Yep. How many times did you do that? 12. And it's only worked out once.
Yeah.
And it
How do you
famous
know
last
it didn't?
words.
How do you know it didn't work out after that? Because the one time it worked was the first time, and the 12 after that were not successful attempts. So I determined that that idea was not a good idea.
That's fair.
Well, you gotta listen for certain phrases from people like, I could make that, or hold my beer,
Hey,
or
check this shit out.
check this shit out, or he doesn't look that big.
Well, and then if he's not willing to do it, then DJ just hits him with a, you won't, bitch.
You won't.
There's the other one. You got your seatbelt on? I got my. Hang on.
Oh! Here we go.
There will be warning signs.
Yeah, when you
Hey,
go
is
through
your
the guardrail.
Is your insurance paid up?
Always.
You got full coverage on this? Wait, huh? Ah, fuck.
DJ's classic line as we were like sliding into the fucking guardrail in Denver. He's like, "Here we go, boys."
It's just,
Here
it's
we go.
instinctual. Like, there's nothing left to do but prepare for the fuckery that's afoot. Like,
That's the, hey, we're sinking. Let's see where this goes.
Didn't work
yeah.
out too well for the Titanic.
I'm pretty sure the first semi we saw was like, semi!
Yeah, I was so focused on not dying, and he's watching the
Yeah.
semi go, whoa!
Yeah, I didn't even see it. I was literally like staring at the
Well, at
steering
first I was
wheel,
like
hoping
this,
it would
and
do
then,
something.
then I felt
Hoping it would do
It
something.
wasn't steering, dude. It wasn't
Yeah.
steering.
Well, then we went through the guardrail, and I was like, wait a minute, we're still...
Still alive.
We're still
Might as
moving?
well look.
The worst part, in my opinion, going through the guardrail wasn't scary to me. It was barreling towards the cliff going down, and we were like going way too fast, and the only thing that stopped us was the trailer slamming down because it was on one wheel at that point.
And him screaming, just stop!
I was like, stop! Stop! Just stop!
Like, it's gonna be like, oh, sorry,
dude. At one point, it listened, dude.
Eventually, listen, if we would have tumbled down that hill, this Parthian video would not have any Parthians in it.
Yeah, that's true. We'd be dead as fuck.
He'd be the only one.
I'd be the only one, yeah.
I remember seeing that post on Facebook, and it was like everybody was tagging, and it's one of the, I think because it happened during the week, didn't it?
Probably. No, it was a weekend.
Saturday.
Yeah, we played Norton's. Shout out to Norton's, one of the greatest places around here to play.
Never wrecked a van.
Yep. We played there on Friday night for their big like Halloween thing. It was a metal and beer fest.
Okay, that's what it was.
That was awesome. And then Saturday we literally got within probably like 45 minutes of the venue we were trying to get to.
Yep.
And then that happened.
And 45 minutes from Denver is
fuck nowhere.
Let this be a lesson to anyone watching who drives, big vehicles. If it starts snowing, slow down, and don't just slow down from 75 to 65. Slow way down.
I was doing that Friday when I was on my way here because I woke up and there's a fucking snowstorm going on, and everybody when I was leaving town, I got behind the cleaner truck with the snow plow. So I'm like, cool, I'm going to keep right on, I'm going to be a little ways back, but I'm going to be right on this guy, because I know he ain't going anywhere. He ain't slipping and sliding, so if I see him start slipping and sliding,
it's just time to stop driving.
You're done.
I know this is where, and then it's, everybody else is, I was basing my speed, I think that, if there was no snow on the ground, I could see the concrete, I'm like, okay, I'll get up to 50, and then when I'd start seeing that there was snow covered on the road, it's like, okay, we're dropping down to 40 or 35 and driving it enough. And then at one point, it's like no cars alongside the road. And within a 2-mile section by Grafton, Nebraska, there's 3 cars in the ditch and they are buried in snow. And I'm just like, okay, that might have been the turn back sign, but everybody says that the weather in Kansas is okay, so we just got to make it to the highway.
Just got to get over the border.
Dude, where I'm working in a town called Logan, which is 20 miles away from southern Nebraska. And every drive home for the past few weeks has been terrifying until I make it to Salina, because it's constantly snow and ice.
Oh, yeah.
It's almost like Nebraska doesn't want people living in Nebraska. It's trying to tell you to leave.
Well, I did. I can't go there to see all you fuckers.
He listened.
Now I gotta go back up there because my kids are up there, so.
Shit. Well.
Oh well, they got a good music scene up there.
The music scene.
Working on trying to pull, giving information to other bands and being like, hey, here's some contacts up there, get a hold of them if you want up there. Here's some contacts for the Kansas band,
Yeah.
We need a Rolodex, but just modern day where it's
It's called a contact list.
Yeah, just on a computer.
I'm trying, listen, fuckers, let me finish my thought process. I'm trying to play a show in Nebraska, and there's just a guy who's like, oh, here are the contacts in Nebraska. Boom, 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 boom. These are all metal venues. You'll have a great time. We need to create this network. And once we have this network, it'll be easy to book shows everywhere. Because right now, it's I want to play a show here. And some guy's like, well, I can get you a show in my basement. Never again.
Yeah, we did play in a very dungeonous basement.
Flesh pit.
Dude, the flesh pit.
There was not any flesh down there at all. Luckily.
I was about
It
to
was
say.
a pit.
I was kind of excited about the flesh.
There's plenty of black hole, no flesh. It was a rough time.
Yeah, but that's kind of also one of the things about the positive side of the internet is being able to start making all these connections around places, and it's like, okay, here's some venues to contact, here's some bands to contact. Okay, these guys are going to get a hold of you, you guys get a hold of them, okay, we're going to work this way. Well, what are you doing? Hey, I'm just cross-platforming and informing, and you guys let me know when the show is, and I'll be there.
Exactly. A Rolodex, you fucks.
I don't know, man. Rolodexes are pretty
I
outdated.
would say we could create a Facebook group, but it'd go from promoting shows and getting bands together to somehow people getting in there that has OnlyFans and promoting that. It's like, no, we don't want to see your pussy. We want to know where this band in Oklahoma is.
Well,
So you're saying I should stop posting my OnlyFans and I'll ban the
No,
account?
you're still fine.
Okay, good. I'm glad. I was really worried.
Since you're in a band, you're also promoting the
Okay.
band
Oh,
too.
I got
so.
a name for it. Only bands.
only bands.
Only dongs.
Only bands.
That's a different service. Only bands is where you sync up to find bands. Only dogs is why.
That's what I post on.
It'd be kind of like a band camp, but
Yeah.
all right, looking for bands in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
You would think that, like, with how
Play it to
advanced
map.
the internet's gotten, that there would already be something like that, but for whatever reason, there's just not.
All right, it's $1 billion idea. You can't put this in the
Yeah.
video because we gotta.
Hey,
we
since
gotta.
you already
call
called
it
the
an
idea,
idea.
and if we post it, then we have proof of when you called the idea.
That's a good point.
I'm time stamping this right now
up that
on
patent
March
office.
10th at 2:22 p.m.
What?
Only bands.
Only bands.
I have the credit at the good.
I get out the credit.
Yeah, that's at least 30%.
Yeah, that he gets. I get 70.
33 1/3% chance.
I could build that side. That'd be easy.
Let's see, $1 billion side. I'll take 1% of that.
You got to get at least 1% for sure.
And then, well, I'll take half of that 1% in cash, and then I'll take the other in stocks. So,
Obviously.
see, this way I'm continuing the role to be able to retire at the age of 103. And we'll probably go ahead and end this because everybody's pissing and.
I mean, you drink the beers, so eventually you got to do the beers.
He broke the seal first. He started.
Dude,
it.
I could barely get to the bathroom. I stood up and I was like, whoa.
Yep.